Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal. We got some big class changes and tier set tuning announced for the next week of patch 9.2. Some of your favorite class tier sets are looking to see a massive improvement, while others are expected to see a reduction in value. Also, we are likely to see even more class changes before the release of Mythic Sepulchre, which is gonna be available during the next week's reset. In this update, we will also cover any other class change that happened this week, as well as some PvP tuning specifically regarding trinkets that have proven to be a little bit too strong. But right before that, most of you guys watching this videos are still not subscribed, and if you're watching this video anyway, you might as well subscribe as well as hit the bell, especially if you want to see more patch 9.2 content, guides, and updates, as well as potentially future WoW expansion announcements, which could be happening earlier than expected, with the patch 9.2.5 hitting PTR very soon. We'll start this video off with the tier set updates. Starting with the class of Elemental Shaman, Blizzard is looking to reduce the effectiveness of Wind Gust buff when you're running the Storm Elemental talent. The buff of Wind Gust speeds up the cast speed of your Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning. You gain a stack of this buff every time you use a lightning spell while your Storm Elemental is out. These stacks are now capped at a maximum of 10 and will always drop off if you ever need to resummon your Storm Elemental. With the Shaman tier set, it was technically possible to have an Elemental out as almost a permanent pet, at least during our testing over on the PTR. But this was only possible with specific talents and under ideal conditions, like not having to move ever and being able to rapid fire certain spells to maintain and prolong your elemental duration. This is a very unfortunate nerf that's obviously going to decrease the value of the Storm Elemental talent for Elemental Shamans heading into the next update of patch 9.2. The next tier set on the chopping block is the Balanced Druid tier set. The damage proc from the 2-piece tier set bonus has been nerfed slightly, and they nerfed the 4-piece tier set bonus that made Star Surge and Starfall cheaper to cast. This is a simple nerf to the actual damage output of the Boomkin tier set without completely breaking apart the interaction that the tier set may have with certain legendaries. Pairing the Balanced Druid tier set together with legendaries like Pulsar will still result in a very interesting gameplay interaction. We also got another Druid tier set update for the spec of Feral. The 2-piece bonus is seen a buff in the Berserk cooldown reduction, while the 4-piece tier set bonus is seen a 25% damage buff. Initially on the PTR testing realms, Feral Druid tier set was amazing in AoE situations like Mythic Plus and really showed us just how much AoE Feral Druids normally lack. This tier set was incredibly strong, and as expected, it definitely got nerfed, though the initial nerfs may have been heavy-handed. These recent buffs are not final numbers and we could see more Feral tuning in the future. However, the early sim numbers, which should be taken pretty lightly, suggest that this buff might not be as impactful as it sounds. During PTR, a lot of players got excited about the possibility of Feral Druids being somewhat viable for Mythic Plus content for the patch 9.2. So hopefully with future class tuning and changes, Blizzard might make that dream a reality. The next tier set update is for the Unholy Death Knight. The 4-piece tier set is looking to passively buff your pets even more than it used to, and the 4-piece execute interaction will massively bolster your pet's damage for a short amount of time. With this update, Blizzard really wanted to make Unholy Death Knight stand out from the crowd, making him extra efficient when the enemy boss is critically injured. The big damage to your pets is very likely to inspire a pet-oriented gameplay, and now landing that execute window with Soul Reaper will be even bigger value for Unholy Death Knights in the patch 9.2. The next tier set change is for the Beast Mastery Hunter. From your 4-piece bonus, your kill command crits will also be able to buff your next multi-shot as well as Cobra Shot. When multi-shot is empowered with kill command, it's going to produce a longer beast cleave buff. As an ability, multi-shot is only used by Beastmaster hunters to maintain the Beast Cleave buff, which lets your pet cleave multiple targets around them. The damage of the multi-shot ability isn't amazing, and it's only used for buff management. This can sometimes limit your focus spending inside of AoE and Mythic Plus situations, which heavily collided with the original 4-piece tier set bonus for Beastmaster Hunter, which made the gameplay generally unfun. This tier set change will improve your buff management, making it more interactive with the current tier set. This interaction will also give you more room to use other spells and abilities besides just maintaining Beast Cleave, which you'll have to do less often, which allows this tier set to really change the dynamic of your Beast Mastery Hunter rotation. The next spec on the list is Affliction Warlock. Their 2-piece and 4-piece tier sets are seeing an improvement. The 2-piece will further buff the damage of Malefic Rapture, while the 4-piece will give you better procs of free raptures whenever using your filler spells of Shadow Bolt or Drain Soul. This damage buff should make the Affliction Warlock single target and cleave more impactful. However, I wonder if this buff is enough to make Malefic Rapture stronger for AoE and Mythic Plus situations, because otherwise this tier set feels like it might lose out on value, specifically in Mythic Plus situations. Let me know in the comments if you think this tier set update might allow Malefic Rapture to be more often used for pure AoE situations for Mythic Plus in the patch 9.2. And the final tier set nerf comes for the Fury Warrior, as well as their Necrolord legendary ability. The 2-piece Rage and Blow damage is getting nerfed slightly, while the 4-piece Reckless's duration is getting reduced by 1 second. On top of it, Glory, the Necrolord legendary power, is also seeing a nerf. To extend the duration of your Necrolord banner, it'll now require you more rage as a Fury Warrior. The tier set nerfs themselves for Fury are slight, which are not essentially going to change gameplay, but will affect their performance. However, when it comes to the Necrolord legendary, in the early sims for warriors, which like we said, all early numbers should be taken lightly, could potentially turn the Necrolord warrior from the strongest covenant choice to the weakest covenant option, at least for rating in patch 9.2. Earlier this week, we also got some class updates. For Mistweaver Monks, the Shadow Monks summoned by a Venthyr Fallen Order ability can now cast Enveloping Mist more than just once, which is overall a buff to the Venthyr Mistweaver playstyle, which has been the more dominant covenant for the last bit of Shadowlands. The Kyrian Shaman Vesper Totem legendary effect saw its damage bonus reduced by 35%, only for Restoration Shamans. This is likely in anticipation to the double legendary combinations that Shamans will be able to play in the next few weeks. Specifically, the combination of the Kyrian Vesper Totem legendary effect together with the Deep Tremor Earth Elemental Earthquake legendary, which would have offered Restoration Shamans probably the biggest AoE damage output at the cost of their healing, and this damage could have been massive in specific Mythic Plus content. This is a Restoration Shaman only nerf, so Elemental and Enhancement could potentially use Kyrian Legendary, even though right now it doesn't seem like it is the best choice of Covenant Legendary so far in the patch 9.2. We even got a buff for Protection Warriors. Their damage and abilities are getting buffed by a whopping 6%. It is a very slight damage buff, but a damage buff nonetheless. This will pair together with the Protection Warrior tier set, which from the last PTR testing looked pretty competitive. If you've been playing arenas this week, there's a good chance you might have ran into someone using a trinket to outright one-shot you. A lot of powerful and maybe overtuned trinkets have recently got nerfed in this update. First of all, the Cosmic Gladiator's Resonator, which I personally call the Grenade Trinket. The damage of this trinket has been reduced by 18%, and this trinket can no longer critically strike. This critical strike bonus allowed certain classes like Fire Mage instead of Combustion to guarantee massive damage output. Classes like Elemental Shamans actually do more critical strike damage than any other spec in the game. Then there's specs like Arms Warrior that may have ran the Kyrian Spear of Bastion legendary. Not only are you speared with the Spear of Bastion stuck to take the damage from this trinket, but the spear would also increase your crit damage as well, which just like Shaman could benefit this trinket. Blizzard also added a new visual to easier notice the enemy using this trinket. So far, this trinket is a very powerful PvP addition that creates some one-shot value, and I wonder if these nerfs is enough to make it lose its competitive value in the patch 9.2 Season 3. Then we also got a lot of the brand new raid PvE trinkets heavily nerfed in PvP. Some of these raiding trinkets were never available for testing over on the PTR, and as expected, some of these powerful trinket effects had literal one-shot potential in arenas. Having a bunch of dungeon trinkets and raiding trinkets dominating PvP is not healthy for the game. The PvP players do not want them, and Blizzard made the right choice by nerfing these trinkets drastically, which has been seen as a very positive move by the community. This is a very good change in my opinion, and hopefully Blizzard will continue to listen to the community feedback as we head further into Season 3 of PvP. But that's going to be everything we have for today's video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this one, and I do hope you guys enjoyed. And let me know in the comments, what do you think about these tier set changes? What other class tier sets do you think should also be improved in a further update? And which nerfs do you think should Blizzard revert in the future? If you guys enjoyed this video update or found it informative, give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And as always, in the description of every single video and live stream, we have a link to our Discord community channel. Probably the best place to reach me directly if you got any questions or want to let me know what you think about this video update. If you watch these videos regularly, then you should really consider joining our Discord to join our community. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in another one.